welcome again to Marilyn Hawes. She's had her lady who does things for her this morning. Her lady has said, "You've confined to your, where is it?"
My spare bedroom because of the hoovering noise, you see.
Oh, yeah. And last week we were interrupted because she couldn't find the Hoover. This week, anything can happen. It's happened this end already, and it'll happen your end. Listen, tons to talk about, as it usually is. Going back to my hometown of Manchester, I'm a Manc. We've been saying for years, why the grooming gangs in
Rape
Rochdale?
gangs, rape
Yeah,
gangs.
I knew you said that. I was drawing you into that one. You're right, but they do groom before they rape.
Oh, of
So,
course they do, but they try and soften it, don't they? See, they try and minimize it by calling it grooming. No,
yeah,
they're minimizing it because it's so distasteful to say what they really know. And you've got to say it how it is. You've got to say what it really is.
yeah, you're right. So I'm going around the towns all over the north of England, and I've been saying quietly and loudly, hang on, look at the populations, how are they made up? Is it any surprise that this goes on? And in the back of my mind, always is dear old Manchester. Why have they got away with it? There's no rape gangs in Manchester. The blooming well is that we know about it, and now it's come out, but it's come out very carefully and just typically page
Oh,
9 again. There are 1,000 investigations going on. That
mm.
is shameful. Why have the police, why hasn't Andy Burnham got a grip of this? Because they're all part of the same clique, let's call them, or should we
100%.
say blob, which is what it's all
100%.
about.
Yeah, I mean, Andy Burnham has been up there in position for years. I say, he must have known. He must have known. He can't not have known. And yet, yes, he's conveniently sort of kept it under the radar as well. But I mean, when I did a lot of work, used to do a lot of work in Blackburn, and Blackburn's a very strange town. It's sort of like split. It's almost like apartheid. You've got one whole of it that's got all the Asians and the other that's got all the white. Even the schools are sort of tinily split. It's very bizarre. But I quite like Blackburn. I think it's very friendly and all of that. But I think, I was listening to the chief constable of Greater Manchester Police the other day on the TV, and he reckons there's probably another 700 girls that have not yet come through the system. And I think he is a strong chief constable. And I think that, a fish rots from the head down. It doesn't matter whether it's a school, whether it's a police force, whether it's John Lewis, whatever. You're only as successful as the person at the top. And I think he is like far more no nonsense and they are doing better. But that isn't the point. My point about wanting to talk about this morning is our great and glorious useless leader, Keir Starmer. Did he not, remind me if I got this wrong, did he not say and promise, along with Yvette Cooper, that they would promise that the early release people were not going to be anybody that was a risk to the public? They were not going to be sex offenders. They were not going to be paedophiles. Only people that were low risk were going to do these early offenders, this early release. And so, yes, on Saturday, I find six of the worst, one of the worst gangs that was going on in Oxford, around Oxford, all of them Pakistani, and their mugshots are all over GB News if you want to see that. And they, from 1998 to 2005, they wreaked havoc across Oxford, which of course a big surprise to Oxford because they like to think that they're above all that, Leafy Lane and Oxford University and all that. That these guys were over that period of time, putting girls in the back of their people carrier. They were raping them in laybys, in parks, in guest houses for a significant time. And they have been confirmed by the Ministry of Justice, have come out on early release. Why? Do they seriously, parole board, believe that these men are not going to do it anymore? Of course they are. Two of them are not even on license anymore. It's outrageous. And this is another lie that Starmer, he assured us it wasn't going to be any of these people that were coming out, but they have done. And the Ministry of Justice has actually also said how, that they remain, the victims, these young girls, now women, remain high in their thoughts about the despicable crime that they had to suffer. Oh, and now they're out on early release.
Yeah, there's half a dozen of them there, and early release normally means their sentence is cut by half. They're going back into the communities, and let's get this straight. They are being welcomed gloriously
Yes,
into their community. They're almost being welcomed like heroes.
I know. I just, I mean, why can't we deport them? I know they're probably British nationals and all of that, but if they have not been born here, and then they should have that, I think, that residency removed, and you can go back to where you came from. I mean, I suppose it's different if you've been born here, but if they weren't born here and they don't look like the age group that would have seen them as being born here, because they look about in their 50s, and of course that's what happens. These poor girls are raped by men that are three times older than them. So most of these girls would have been 11, 12 years old. So that makes the men nearly 40. So
And,
there's,
and let's get it clear, Marilyn, that these girls are usually from broken homes. Not everyone by any means,
no,
but
no, no.
they've got problems, a lot of them, and they're just looking to be loved in the right
Exactly right.
sense of the word.
Exactly. Yeah.
And this is why the clever gangs are saying, "Oh, can I introduce you to Uncle Zahir or whoever?" And they become the family before they're
Right.
maltreated.
That's right. But a lot of them also, though, there's not, I mean, it is a myth that they're all children from broken homes or care homes or children residential homes, because I know I'm contacted a lot by parents, perfectly middle class, nice parents who had a daughter that was very empathic and befriended somebody at their school, who was part. This is the thing. This is what the kids don't get. It's the hook. The hook is someone their own age, and they don't see it coming. They don't see it. They just don't see a stranger as someone their own age. Oh, don't talk to strangers. Well, there, if you don't know that 14-year-old, they're a stranger. But also in the school situation, and I do agree, Anne Longfield, the previous commissioner, she agreed, and I agreed with her as well, that in every secondary school in England there would be someone who's part of a gang. And I totally agree with her. I totally agree with her. It's that bad. But I mean, how you can let these creeps out on early release, absolutely, it just leaves me speechless. So I have written to my MP today on a whole load of issues, actually, on this one, early release particularly, and I've underlined in red things that I would like to be brought up in the House, please. This being one of them. I've done another one on to him as well on full-term abortion and assisted dying. When that goes through, I wrote last week, as I said I was going to. I wrote to the House of Lords last week, the leader of the House, Baroness Smith, on the issue of full-term abortion. So that's still got to go through the House of Lords. So, I mean, I don't really have the time to write these letters, but I just think if you feel passionately about something, you can't just sit there and roll over and have your tummy tickled. You've got to actually do something about it. You've got to stand up and say something. That is the trouble with this country. Nobody does anything. They all sit at the pub over a dinner table. Oh, isn't it awful? Isn't it awful? Well, then do something about it.
Absolutely, 1,000% I agree. Let me give you some more stats, if I may. This one's come out of Birmingham, Bordsley Green, specifically. They've done a stat count on the number of crimes. There are 181 per thousand crimes. So, at population, for every thousand in the population, there's 181 crimes committed every year. That is massive.
That is massive.
And 55% are violent and sexual. Now you think, oh, well, must be a poor area. It's not that poor. But let me tell you something, and we could be in trouble, but it won't be the first time, will it? 90% non-white South Asian Muslim crime
Absolutely.
perpetrators. That's
Absolutely.
where it comes from.
Of course it does. And I was listening to, I mean, I just, as I said before, I don't know how Patrick Christie gets away with it, but he was on the other day about crimes in England and how FGM, female genital mutilation, honor-based violence, is rising. And as he rightly said, the only reason we have this is immigrants. because no one in this country who is born white or born here with any ethic whatsoever would go along with FGM and honor-based violence. And it has been under the radar for a long time because the girls are terrified, or these, the girls have got out through Heathrow and they're taken back to their country where all this is carried on and then brought back in. Because to some extent, I remember this about 2 or 3 years ago, it was, I think they were saying that if a girl is frightened that she is going to be taken back to Africa or wherever it is to have this FGM done, then if she puts like a teaspoon or something in her bra or in her knickers, that will set the metal thing off, right? And then they can take the girl to one side and then she's sort of rescued. That was a something maybe even 5 years ago, I think it was before COVID, that was the way to get attention if a young girl was really worried about what was
And
going to happen to her.
it's women on women. The
It
people
is.
actually conducting this
Oh, it is
operation
absolutely.
are women.
Yeah, it is absolutely. It is appalling, and in some little hut somewhere, it's not even hygienic. It
No.
is just dreadful. It's absolutely dreadful. And of course, the girls and yeah, I mean, you can get Granny who's very much in favour of it, and then the daughter goes along, and the granddaughter has to go. All these underlying crimes here. It all gets back to migration, immigrants, the uprising of what have we got here? TB and diseases. Luton is the top town in the country for it.
Yeah.
Oh, I wonder why. I wonder why. Why aren't people coming in? I mean, and having what inoculations have they had? Why aren't they given them as soon as they get here and then send them backpacking? Send them back. I see the French are doing something, aren't they now? Um,
Well, yes,
jet
but
skis.
with what ulterior motive? Now, don't forget with the French,
Yeah.
Patel said years ago, let's do what the Greeks and the Italians do. We get them on ski bikes, let's
Yes.
call them. And they're very maneuverable, very fast. And in this instance, they lay nets to trap the propellers of
Yes.
these boats.
Yes.
Now, it's all been tried and done. But my cynical thinking is, why is it suddenly happening? Well, it's obvious. Macron is due this very week to come over. And if you notice, there are some things going on here that are very nasty from the Brexit point of view, whichever
Mm,
side you take. But it's come out now, as everything does, in the wash. They're blowing the trumpet, the Labour Party, saying it's only happened because of our new reset relationship with the EU. Now, let me get away from civil service blob speak and say to people that means we're going back without a vote, without democracy into the EU. And if you see Anderlein and if you see Macron cuddling up in that order to Sir Keir
yeah.
physically,
Yeah.
that is what's going on, folks. Are
Well,
we living in a democracy?
no, we're not living in a democracy. How did the Chagos deal go through without a whole, debate on it? How did the full-term abortion go through? No one knew that was on a paper to be discussed. Had a 2-hour discussion, and boom, it went through. I mean, children, babies have human rights. And when I wrote my letter to the House of Lords, I to this lady, I actually cut and pasted a photo, a Getty image of a newborn baby, and I stuck it on the email, and I said in the letter, and I said just so to remind you what a newborn baby looks like. Hours before this child was born, her mother could have decided not to have it. It's absolutely dreadful. It's like the great executioner, isn't it? But I mean, I don't believe anything. It's not democracy. Stuff is going on under the radar. He seems to just do what he wants to do without discussion. And these are really critical things that he is just signing off and getting through because he thinks it's a good idea with no discussion at all. It's awful. It's not democracy. It isn't. I mean, you're fearful of free speech anymore. That's going to be a dying thing, isn't it?
Yes, we've seen the signs, we've seen the actual, and it is. We're going to move on for a bit of light relief, but it's not really, and that's Santander Bank.
Oh,
Massive bank, grown from nothing. Santander, really nice city. We know it's great for jazz.
yeah, yeah. I
North
like
Spain,
Santander.
decent climate up there, of course, because you don't get the heat that we get down here.
Right.
At the moment, we've got 3 months of nearly 40 degrees and above at times. So aircon essential. But up there, it's more of a North Cornish climate
Yeah,
with
it's
a
nice.
bit of heat. It is nice and beautiful people, beautiful landscape. But Santander Bank grew out of this massively. But let me tell you that we inhabit, as you know, Portugal,
Oh,
Spain, and
hang on.
UK. Now, that's three countries, and we're greedy, and we bank with Santander.
So do we.
UK, Portugal, and they're brilliant there. They're not bad in UK as banks go. In Spain, you've got to believe it. It's tragedy. You can see nobody. They treat you like, I won't say the word. They're awful. I'll give you an example. You can't see a bank manager unless you're royalty, and you cannot get anything done because they're always having coffee.
Yeah, that's right.
They're having a fiesta. They don't tell you.
Manana, manana.
Exactly. For us at the moment, it's not easy for us to get around physically while we're recovering from our escapades of last year. You go out in 40 degrees and you queue up, and then you find there's a little notice there saying, "Oh, the fiesta! We're gonna close early today." So at midday they're off, and you've wasted a whole day, and lots of other things. And we've had it, and it grew to the state with them that everything is done by app because they don't want to speak to you.
Oh, I know.
Speak to you. The app and general computer stuff in Spain regarding apps through a computer, let alone a phone, is in the last century, well in the last century. It doesn't work. You're so lucky in UK having decent apps. We don't get them. And I'll give you an illustration. All the banks now want triple, fourth lock, even safety guards because they don't want anybody stealing. Well, reasonable, except if you're doing the work for them and they're getting all the money, which they are. Now they've got, oh, you'll have to put your fingerprint in to use your phone instead of your card, which sometimes is convenient. But even to send money anywhere, you use your app and you've got to put your fingerprint. It does not work. So I thought I'll try a thumbprint. It does not work. You're there. There's a queue in the supermarket. They're all going tut, tut, tut. And I'm sorry, Spain is not good in supermarkets. We are great queuers in UK. Forget it in Spain.
Oh,
They've
yeah.
got the sharpest elbows on this earth. They'll get you in the ribs if you delay them 1 second. No patience, either in traffic or supermarkets.
Yes, because it's so hot over there. That's why.
Well, for all their good points, that is a bad point. So you're trying to get your phone working, your finger, and you thought, now I get a notice from in the middle of all this hiatus. Guess what it says? Use your footprint. What? In other words, they got the translation wrong. So here's me standing on my phone. Oh, how is this about? You couldn't write it, could you?
I loathe IT and all these apps because everything you try and download an app, I can never remember my passwords, like my Apple ID. I can never remember it. And I think,
Well, you
oh
can't
my
write it
God.
down. Well, for goodness sake, you must have 2,000 blooming passwords. Ignore them. It's only for them. It's not for you. Ignore them.
It's so frustrating. It is my biggest stress is technology. I'm just, I just get, when it works, it's brilliant. When it doesn't work, it is so frustrating. So frustrating.
Well, we've been nearly a month with either dodgy or no internet
Oh,
because the rats eat the
oh
cable.
yes.
And the place that's supposed to do that, they just say, "Oh yes, I mean, we can't survive. We got 12 television channels
Yeah,
worldwide." And then
yeah.
you start, "Oh, it's not our fault. It's not our fault." Yes, it is. I'll tell you something interesting has come out of this, and maybe somebody with a science degree will confirm it. But why is it with rats? But I found out through a third party that caravan parks as well are subject to rats chewing cables.
Yeah, they chew cables. They also, a lot of people with electric cars have had the problem as well. Plugging in electric cars, they've had a problem with it.
Now, digging, we have found, and I don't know how true this is, but apparently the plastic that coats the cables, because they're not going to armor the cables, which is the other answer, because it would take too much space and it would be too costly. So, what is it with the plastic? Rats love the plastic. Why? Because apparently the type of plastic that is used in this cabling is mixed with animal extract. And there,
Okay.
no, no, that not that end.
Oh,
The whole end. Yes.
I thought you were about to say animal excrement.
Yeah, I know how your brain works, madam. Having said that, there's got to be some other chemical that they can put in there besides the extract of animals, because that's what the rats are after. And one
Yes.
bite and bang, the whole thing goes.
We moved into a brand new house in year 2000, yeah. And it was a very quick finish to rush the end of year figures. So the people hadn't done the job properly of sealing down pipes and things properly. And we found we had, oh God, it was awful. We had rats everywhere. It was a brand new house, awful. And they had done that. You could hear them scurrying through the cavities, and they had eaten through the cables as well, the electric cables. How they do that and they don't like electrocute themselves, I've got no idea. But we had them everywhere. It was absolutely awful. But they do. Oh, yeah, they do. Yeah, I have noticed that. And in caravan parks, I don't know. People leave rubbish and food and bits of crumbs, don't they? They have camping. They sort of sit out in their awnings and that and the other. I don't know. I think
Well,
they.
they still coat the cables with this faux plastic or a mixture of whatever. You think that's bad? Let me go even worse now. And again, you couldn't write the script. Gov.uk is a very complicated site, but it's very comprehensive, and some of it's quite useful. And if you go into gov.uk, you can find everything about the government, how to apply for driving licenses, everything at all is on that site. Goes on far too long, but they've done the best, let's put it that way. Then some PR firm comes along and says we can make this much more sexy and human friendly. What? So, yeah, okay. Well, somebody had the bright idea, a new logo, which in the real world is gov.uk in black. It looks government, it looks official, it's all right. But you're not selling anything. We've got to go for you as the government because you've got the biggest monopoly on this world, in this world. So there you go. One bright spark said, we must move the dot between gov.uk halfway up the word and we'll change its colour to a nice sleazy blue, the dot, not the rest of it. So they do, and the new logo is there for people to see. Fine. And then, ka-ching, they send the bill for this great piece of PR. £500,000. Thank you very much and good night. Now, that is the stupidity of our civil servants
Unbelievable.
to
I know.
immediately pay this money in the first place.
It's ridiculous. All that over blooming full stop.
Well, you know why the blue dot is there, and that's because it shows people joining together in unity.
Oh,
This is the way
well,
they've sold
if
it.
only, if
What?
only, if only.
Yeah. You can't
Believable.
get it right in Bradford. You're not
I,
going to get it right anywhere.
I just, it's extraordinary, isn't it? You just think these people, how do they find jobs like this that pay an extortionate amount of money? If it wasn't so annoying, it really is laughable, isn't it? It's a comic act, really. It's
Yes.
crazy.
I've got a worse comic act than this
Oh
one.
no, not
It's
another one. Come
something
on.
that we've been talking about before we came on air, basically. And that's what they're doing to you down there. But I'll give you first bite at the cherry. Uh,
Well,
well,
were you talking about our the thing I sent you about the building round here?
yes.
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't believe it that we made the Telegraph yesterday. We are a little village, did you know, 70 houses in the middle of Bedfordshire. And it was 170 houses they wanted to build down the road. And it really, we have got so many red list wildlife around here. Now, red list means that they are in risk of extinction. So just to march in and like dig it all up. And we've suffered so much building here over the years. I mean, when I just moved in here 7, 8 years ago, there was nothing like the building that's there now. I mean, we must have like, crikey, just down the road about a mile and another mile to another village. There must now be about 8,000, 9,000 more houses. And of course, that's impacted the roads. So where we are, it's not even a B road, it's a lane and very windy country lane. It's not a B road, and the sides of which are collapsing. And, you can't get, it's a car and a half, you can't really pass. Anyway, we got involved with Speedwatch, and because some of these idiots are coming round the bends at 40, 50 miles an hour, which you just can't do without coming off the bend. And someone drove into a deer this morning, and the roads are blocked here. There's an ambulance, there's police, there's the Duke of Bedford's gamekeepers have come out to rescue the deer because they speed. And anyway, we get 41,000 vehicles a week coming down these lanes, and you can't. So if 170 houses, right, you like two in every house. So you're talking probably of at least 340 cars, right? Then we've got to suffer Universal Studios that's going on not 10 miles from here and all of that. Anyway, we had this campaign and it's been ongoing for about 2 or 3 years about the building. Persimmon Homes really want to push this, right? Anyway, we had a council meeting about a month or so ago, and temporarily we got a stay of execution for 6 months. Four out of six councillors wouldn't agree with it going ahead, the build, and they've got 6 months to appeal. But whether they appeal or not, what they're going to do, it still creates a traffic problem. We had and it's actually very, very discreet, a crematorium built down the road, which is very discreet, hidden away and all of that. But, you know, that went under the radar and no one knew. So you're looking at sometimes some of the funerals, there are about 100 cars and they all come up our lane to have the wake at the local pub here. So, the landlord's going, Anyway, Blake Stevenson, our MP, and he's Tory, decided he'd write this article for the Telegraph. So the shock of my life to see our little village there. Just and he's appealing to other people to say, hold on to your rural communities, which is he's absolutely right. We've had a dollop of building here for over years, and it cannot take any more. It's saturation point, and that is what happens. You can't just keep ripping up the green spaces. But when you go up to your neck of the woods, around Manchester Way and all up on the Dales, and there's loads of land there. Why has it always got to be the villages around here?
Well, look at the weather charts for the last 3 weeks, and that'll tell you why people want to move south more than anything else. And there's little we can do about that. Having said that, come on, I'm going to give you another issue here. And Angela is up to no good. She's quietly scheming, we know that, to get rid of Sir Keir. So we approve of that part of it. But she wants to be king of the castle, or queen of the castle in her particular case. And there's lots going on. And one of the things is housing. So instead of pointing to the real problem of not enough housing in Britain, which we all know, everybody in the land knows, it's immigration.
It is.
Sort that out, and there's your housing problem sorted out at a stroke. Oh no, we'll crush the gangs. Yeah, we'll
Yes,
stick more knives in rubber boats. Yes, it's a nonsense. Right. Having said that, there is a new estate, not from you, near you rather, Rochester. And the planning permission is, as we speak, going in. An entrepreneurial chappie has decided to hit all the DEI buttons, make it acceptable. So he's decided that he can put very cheaply together 2,000 homes in a greenbelt area just outside Rochester. Oh, I've got a picture to show you. The houses. There we are. Now, look, that looks to me like a dirty ex-army of some vintage. I don't know, even a holiday camp of that period.
Probably building them for the migrants.
Yes, say no more. Now, that is architecture at its worst. I don't even call it
I
art.
agree. But you find that round here. When I go driving down, say, to Leighton Buzzard or around the different villages here, whatever, I mean, Bedfordshire is a small county. So really, it's only like 20 miles from Luton to Bedford, and Bedford, another 10 miles, you're out of the country. South of Luton, about 10 miles, that's a county, you're out of it. But the houses that are being built, they have no aestheticism at all. A 2-year-old, it honestly looks like what my 3-year-old draws as their home. A little box with little windows. It's no bay windows. There's no, then I would feel depressed living in one. They look awful. They look absolutely awful.
Well, you would get depressed as you've seen from the colour of these things.
Awful.
And the thing is, there's no infrastructure.
No, 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 absolutely.
Well, we can have, and they're ticking all the boxes. The builder says we can build a small school, and it will be for underprivileged and SEN pupils. Tick box, tick box, tick
Yeah,
box.
yeah, yeah,
And the
yeah.
big tick box is the fact that they're going to be made prefabricated, of course, in factories. Not necessarily anything wrong with that, except they're made out of hemp. Hemp, folks, as you well know or should do, is marijuana. And these houses are made of marijuana. They look like dog kennels, let's be honest. And there's 2,000 of them going on what is apparently a third-rate greenbelt. Now, I wasn't aware of this, but there are various classes of greenbelt. Now, if it's green, it's green. Maybe it's near a brownfield site, whatever that is. They change their gobbledygook every 2 minutes, don't they? So this is going to go ahead. Not if the locals can get hold of it,
Oh,
and let's hope they do, like you're getting hold of
well,
things.
I must ask my one of my colleagues because she lives in Rochester. I'll ask her about that
Yeah. And
because
look,
that is
it's not a NIMBY thing, not in your own backyard, in my backyard rather. It's not a NIMBY thing.
no.
If you're in a delightful little village, well done.
Oh,
If other
no. And
people
I
are
mean,
shit, well,
why can't you hold on to those, I mean, we're not being NIMBY. What we are being is we can't cope with any more traffic. We've got lorries. So it says before you come down these lanes are about 3 or 4 miles, right? It says, no, this is not suitable for anything over 7.5 tons. We have seen, and we've been photographing them for the livery so that the police can actually say to the livery drivers, you can't go down there. We've seen things at about 20 tons coming through here. And these are, roads that were built ages ago, the sides of which are crumbling. And it really is a safety thing. It really is a safety thing. And this accident this morning, so it's, the stupid speeder that went crashing into this deer, and somebody trying to overtake the queue. I mean, even the police said to us this morning, we're amazed you don't have any traffic calming here. Now, like you mean we haven't asked?
yeah,
Oh, the council's got no money. Yeah, I bet
yeah, yeah.
the council can afford to put what's it called? A VR. What is it when they notice your vehicle registration? They put cameras now at our tidy tip, the dump basically, so that they can, you now have to book in your slot. You have to do it online, and then you book in your slot. But if you're, and they register, and it costs about 30, 40,000 pounds to put one of these cameras in. They register your registration number, and then you'll be fined if you went without your slot time. I mean, excuse me, really, haven't you got a better way of, spending your money? And it's not even busy. It's not like we're Milton Keynes. It's a little village tip. It's just absurd.
This is how they want to reshape our future. And we don't like it, and we're not having it. And let's go in for something else that is, well, how about this one? But it's the NHS again, because Sir Keir is going to sort that out again. But there's nothing new on this. It sounds good that almost we're going back to the cottage hospital days in your own town or village. It's not that. They're hoping technology, but we've discussed technology already this morning, will come in to save them. Nothing will save the NHS. It
Mm,
is unsavable.
mm,
And having said it's unsavable, I received a letter from Switzerland and seeing how things can work there. And it is private. And
yeah.
instead of you being made to pay for your through your stamp, good old speech, that isn't it? And now contributions through the +2% system just for employers, of course, at the moment, which is causing havoc.
Uh,
It will cause further havoc in the autumn when they decide the employees can afford more or other ways of raising tax. But this is from Switzerland. So instead of paying your social security payments that way, you are invited to get your own from day one when you're a little tot insurance company to do it for you. And it works beautifully.
mm,
There is a safety net from the state, but it's hardly used because it is not expensive if you save from when you're tiny into a scheme like this.
mm,
It's
mm,
the way
mm.
compound interest works.
Yes, that's right.
It does work,
Mm,
and they get fantastic treatment
mm.
with fantastic results, and they don't have to wait a week or whatever it is to get even to a GP. But as
And
we know, the National Health Service has become a cult, a religion, and it will never change until somebody a la
well,
Trump gets at it.
oh well, my sister, I was talking to her last night, and she had, well, it's worth noting this. She has a degree in human biology, right? And she got in the bath, it was about 4 years ago now. She got in the bath one night and came out with this like little pimple thing on her mouth here. And she thought, oh, that's weird. What's that? Look like no more bigger than a pinhead. And it was sort of like yellow. And she thought, this isn't right. And she thought, oh, is it a spot? No, it isn't. That's weird. She goes to the GP. Finally gets, 3 weeks to wait, goes to the GP. And the GP says, oh, no, no, nothing. It's nothing. But with her human biology degree, she thought, I reckon this is cancer. So she paid privately to go and see. It was £200 to see the consultant who said, yeah, I think you're right. We'll do a biopsy. He did the biopsy, and yes, it was cancer. So, so she went and had another 200, three or whatever it was. 2 weeks later, she has this thing taken out, right? And after she said, I want it done on local anesthetic because I want to hear what they're saying. And they said when they finally took it out that it had already grown. You know how it has tendrils, doesn't it? It had
Yes.
already grown up inside her mouth, up to the side of her nose and around her mouth. And had she waited another 6 months, she would have had to have lost half her nose and half her lip.
Golly. And it would probably
And it's only because, and
metastasize,
I'm
won't it?
telling everybody because, and I remember many years ago, my aunt had one. She had one just up here above her eyebrow, and she said to me one day, "What do you think that is?" Looked like a little whitehead, but it wasn't. I said, "Don't know." She said, "I tried treating it. I can't get rid of it." Same thing. She had skin cancer. But if you had that, if you had it, say you had it on the back of your head, under
Yes.
your hair, you wouldn't know. And Sheila, my sister, said it never hurt. It didn't hurt at all. So the biopsy hurt more than anything, but she was quite shocked. But she said, thank goodness that she had this human biology degree because she knew what the blooming GP didn't know.
Yeah, it's
It's
truly
shocking.
astonishing. The results, and we're not talking just hearsay and personal experience. You've got to look at the hard facts. The chances of surviving cancer in the United Kingdom are
Oh,
far less than surviving in the rest of continental Europe.
absolutely, absolutely, it's outrageous, really awful.
Okay, I'm going to read you a letter from another viewer. Sorry, no, it's not that long, but it's
Is it
something that
telling us to get off air?
yeah. It affects everybody. And listen, time has gone. We must make this our last item.
Okay.
So we've all come across this to a greater or larger extent wherever you live in the world. In America, it's big time. In Britain, with certain supermarkets, it's growing there, and certainly is in Spain. Not Portugal, I've got to say. Right. And this letter is headed to all supermarkets and big commercial stores that operate self-checkouts.
Oh,
Yeah. You are heading towards almost exclusively a self-checkout now. Today I went shopping at one such store, and the lady checking receipts at the exit was stopping everyone. I didn't choose to participate in that nonsense. I had already filled my cart, emptied my cart and scanned the items, refilled my cart, and so I just skipped the exit line and left. Lady of courage. I heard her say, this lady inspecting the bits of paper, excuse me, as I kept walking and raised the receipt above my head, leaving the store. You can either trust me, she said, to do self-checkout, or you can put your cashiers back in place like it used to be. I'm not interested in proving that I did your job for you.
exactly.
If you want me to be a cashier with no training, that's your problem, not mine. Keep employing young people and give them a job. You don't pay me to scan my own shopping. You don't give me staff discount for working for you. Signed, Love. There you go. She's right.
She is right. They drive me mad because invariably they don't work. Something doesn't like, you put something in your bag and the monitor thing hasn't picked up. It might be like a greetings card or something that the monitor can't go dung, and then you have to wait ages for, is anyone coming? Can you just do that? Then it goes wrong again. And I often think, well, you're not reducing the cost of the food. And I really feel outraged about doing it as well. And some people, you can only go through these self scanners if you've got, less than 16 items, yeah. And you got people that, hold big trolleys and no one's stopping them. And you think, well, what's the point in queuing there? I'm likely to get through faster through a till that's manned, but it's awful. It really is awful. I agree with what she or he is saying. I really do.
Another example of big companies having it all their own way.
Yeah,
That's
yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
and
But
when you get
I'd be interested to see what she gets back from them.
yes, well, in a monopoly situation, which governments surely have, and big companies do, if there's not enough of them, the banks in Spain, I mentioned one, Santander, I'll mention it again, are truly awful. And there's very little competition between the big four. If you go to a rural bank, Caja Rural, as it's said in Spanish, we've got a situation whereby the bank manager can still be seen. They might not be able to do all the twiddly bits, but the 90% of stuff, and it's a friendly manager.
But they're normally 2 hours late for the appointment because they're too...
Yeah, but instead of them going out of the bank, which they all do, and have a coffee for an hour, they'll take you out as well.
Oh yeah, they do. No,
Yeah.
that's true. They do. They do, definitely. Yeah, they definitely do.
Anyway, lots more to talk about. Not now. We've run out of time. But
Again, where does the time
more.
go? Honestly, well, have a wonderful time. We actually had rain yesterday, proper rain. So a
Rain?
day's gone
What's
past
that? I
without
don't
me.
remember rain.
Well, a proper rain and with thunder and oh my goodness me, colossal, right overhead thunder, lightning, and it was then I pushed the clouds away, so it went over to Silverstone.
This is what you can do if you gripe, if you have a good go. Listen, people, we don't want to turn any country into a miserable nation. It's easier to do in the UK at the moment. Well, I have to
But
say,
if it doesn't, if something's not like, and if you don't say anything, nothing's going to happen.
nothing's going to change.
You
So
can't just whinge, do
you
something.
remember the word change that our
Oh, stop.
maestro
Yeah, yeah.
said, and he was right. It has
Oh, he was
changed.
right. I said at the
But
time, people don't realize when he says change exactly what he's going to do. And of course, we were right.
more good is to come,
Oh,
surely. Thank you. See you shortly.
bye bye.